Well, hello, everyone. How are you doing? The button says it's live, so it's not Memorex. How are you doing? Got the tea. Spoke to some people earlier. So how is everyone? Hello to all the moderators. Thank you very much. And thank you to all the other folks that are watching. Much appreciated. Welcome. And I think we'll have an exciting hour to well, learn. Hello to Warrior Princess, by the way, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Mountain. Figure it out. The rest of you, 8, 9, or 6. Or I don't know what the time would be if time was multidimensional. So we got the idea of going left, right, east, west, but what about up and down? How will we define that? Shannon, how are you doing? Leslie, love, listen to know God. Saw your question. We'll address that. Hello, Mark. Jay, how are you, Jen? Jamma, how you doing? Struggle within. Thank you. Reciprocated back in kind. Ethereal soul, don't we all? Mary Francis Gleason, how are you doing? Good to see you. Dolores, Jessica, Master Classified. Good to see you. So Plower, hello. Lori, good to see you as well. Aurora Rain. Boy, that one's beautiful. I could see rain in rainbows. Sylvia, Gravity Storm, Lost in Space. Good to see you. Maggie May, how are you doing? Phenomenal pictures, Maggie. We're going to get into it Monday night with Dr. Albers. Great Scott. How are you doing? Peace back to you, my friend. I love that. Let's see. Flight Risk. Welcome. Hey, that's actually how fortuitous that that name come across, because actually, aren't we all? We're really going to get into some deep things. I just want to give thanks out to all of you who send me all the great emails. The serendipity is, well, how shall we say? It's beyond the statistical norms, and there's something going on, folks. There really is. Give me some tea. I picked the title because it wasn't me that actually picked it. I know that sounds strange, doesn't it? But Dunamis of Change. Dunamis is a word most people aren't familiar with, but they use it in their everyday vernacular many times. It's the word we get dynamite from, dynamo, etc. And it means literally power. Actually, it means power from on high, if you want to get more into the esoteric definition and of how it's been written into literature. So Dunamis changes, the dawning of powerful changes. And I do believe that we're in there. Hey, Brian, how you doing? Sarah K. Hello. It's happening. This was not happening that I can remember in my lifetime. And I've been fortunate enough to, hey, Jaguar Spirit, how are you doing? Claudette, good to see you. That this is different. I remember the time I have contended that our planet went through a place in space, that there was a certain release of a certain creativity. That was through the birth of the discovery of man and electricity, where man began to pick up on the ethereal vibrations. Electricity does that. It's where electricity originates from. And it unleashed something within our species. And we saw that represented in, I did a whole video on this, but on 3 different planes. First, we were able to capture the essence of speech. Then we were able to capture the essence of image. And then that began to transcend into other areas, particularly spiritual. And at that same time, when we were discovering film, discovering records, the ability to record the voice, the ability to capture the soul on celluloid. It really is just that, folks. I mean, many native tribes saw the camera as basically capturing the soul. And when you think about it and you do enough study on it, you'll see that they weren't far off. But at the same time, all of this was emerging. It brought forth a new creativity to man that I don't think the archons were expecting. I think it was definitely the seven principles in full action, polarity, vibration. You think about this as well, cause and effect. It just correspondence. It's all there. And so as this was being brought forth from our collective consciousness, so to speak, there was a spiritual movement taking place. There were actually around the world many different spiritual movements that were born forth at the beginning of the 20th century. This is when all of this began to really transform and materialize. So that started a journey for us. And today, as I have seen this, think about it. I saw the advent of a new frequency, a new vibration, and that was brought forth at its pinnacle, which man dubbed it to be rock and roll. And that unleashed an energy that hasn't been matched. I doubt it if it ever will. Something happened. Something that so impacted the world that we had never witnessed anything like that. And that includes, the last two great wars, if wars can be great. I mean, but we're always at war in one sense of another. And that led to wholesale changes in consciousness. New doors were opened, new ideas were brought forth. And this was something that none of the power structures, the living archons that are here, they tried to fight it with their old magic. And, as they would say, damn everyone else, regardless of saving the ship. And we see today that's failing. But as we progress through, we began to understand things, and new concepts were brought forth, new ideas, new wisdoms. And if you look at the transcendence that took place, it was actually a transmutation that was occurring. We just didn't recognize it. That what we found was that we began to understand the essence of mind, of thought. Now, whether you want to go ahead and put the word soul, spirit, but nevertheless, the intellect of man's mind began to see what the gods had tried to keep away. And they tried and they tried and they tried. They tried to almost blow us up. Didn't work. And then, and I can speak from very personal experience on this one, folks. Y'all know it. Those of you who have been with me for quite a while now, you know it. Our culture suddenly had access to what was only reserved for religious purposes. And these were the herbs, later the alchemy that began to extract portions of the ether into the herbs and began to make derivatives from that. And when this was injected again into the consciousness mind of man, more doors were opened. You know, they called it the Dark Ages for a good reason. There was, in fact, a renaissance that regrettably was crushed. And I think the title is very apropos on the graphic. This is the dawning of the Dunamis changes. You can't put the genie back into the bottle. Not going to work. And they know it now. And I think because of this, that this is advanced protocol that you could put it in one term, crash and burn. Because even the small remnant of the consciousness collectively of the mind of man, which would be us, we're a virus. We were born within, but our very DNA has become the antithesis of what we were under. And we become very dangerous. Because once you're no longer held down by the constraints of fear, you find out that you have a vast amount of freedom in which to begin to explore those hidden truths. And today, there's a plethora of them. As eclectic as you want to be, you can literally immerse yourself into virtually every religious doctrine, thought, ideologically, philosophically. I can just go on and on in a day's time. Unprecedented. No commoner, no layman, no subclass has ever been allowed to do that. And now they know they've got a problem. But this problem goes beyond what most of you can even, well, let me rephrase that. I have to take that away. In fact, I think it's just the opposite. I think there's many of us who are becoming much, much, much more aware. I look back, and that's what you look at. Your reality is much like with Joe Sapien. We're going to finish reading his letter, not today, but we're going to get more into it because it was well received. Yeah. There are, I'm going to put it in the right term, threads that are stronger than others, that when woven into the fabric, gives the fabric great, great elasticity. So, anyway, there is an awareness. And when you have personal experience, which all of us do, you've got yours, I've got mine. I just articulate mine in a particular manner. And I'll tell you, if there isn't a, how shall I say, it's almost like there has been an insertion of a, what's the right word to use here? A power source. it's emitting a frequency. And many of us are picking up on it in our own unique and particular ways. And then we bring this back to the collective, so to speak. And it is a collective. We have individualism. There's absolutely no, but we do that by a submission of our will. And I think I know why we do this. So allow me to present to you a little presentation. You know I do these. I do these to stimulate thought for all of us, because there is a download going on. We're all picking up on it. The serendipity is off the scale. I mean, it would be the equivalency of you hitting on a roulette table 29 every time the marble came out. Boom, 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 boom. And after a while, it almost becomes irritating. There's no more challenge to it. But it's what's happening, and there's a reason for it. Something has happened that has triggered, I believe, and I'm announcing it here for all of you to think about, a protocol. And I'm hearing bits and pieces of it everywhere. People like with Sovereign Key and the message that her associate is bringing with Cirrus. I'm hearing it through remote viewers. We're going to be talking a little bit more about Brent Stewart. We're seeing it in channels that are bringing up so many of the breadcrumbs that we're all being fed. I was sitting in the kitchen before I came on brewing the tea, and it just hit me. We're being fed breadcrumbs, and they're being scattered out. I think many times they're being walked on, but those who are very much aware, we're gathering, we're getting it. Think about it. That presents a problem. So let's take a peek at this. So the yada yada, it's amazing, man. Your own voice is being disputed. Anyway, there we go, the old copyright thing. So let's move on. So the dawning of Dunamis changes, powerful changes, power from on high. You could say, and it would be appropriate, a supernatural power. You could actually use the word endued. And that's an old word that people don't use today. But you could literally say that those who are there are being endued with power from on high to be effective in the changes. These are powerful changes that I contend are not the apocalypse. No, there is no such thing as the end. It doesn't work that way. Cycles, epochs, yes. So when we think of that word dunamis, it's a powerful word. And once you begin to meditate on it, it opens up new avenues of thought, meditation. I love doing word meditations where I can just simply begin to meditate on a word and let the essence of that word. Listen, every word spoken has been spoken in a spell. It's been spoken with power. I was having a conversation with Claudette earlier. When you write, when I speak, when these things happen and we tell a story, those words begin to get captured, folks. We'll get into it in here in a second. So, Dunamis, are you a Dunamis spirit? I am. I've been initiated. The question, most likely, I have to ask you, are you? Does your spirit have that power. Think about it. How is that power manifesting in you? The litmus test is not that difficult. Are you finding yourself to become much more knowledgeable? Are you finding knowledge coming at you from every different direction and you're able to absorb it without prejudice, without bigotry, without preconceived determining factors? Are you able to begin to rest peacefully at night, where fear no longer can have any dominion over you? Are you beginning to have the awareness of who you are? Are you understanding the creativeness of what your spirit is doing? This is the threat. This can't get out into the public, many would say. Because people begin to believe in this, oh boy. I mean, it'd be like herding cats, and they know it. So let's take a look at the definition of Dunamis. Power, force, literally or figuratively. Specifically, miraculous power. Boy, some are going to get this, and it's just going to become an epiphany defining your journey. Miraculous power, usually by implication of a miracle itself. Now, miracle is an ambiguous term. There's a lot of ambiguity to it. That's what I meant to say. Because look at this next part. Ability. And folks, please grab a hold of this next word, abundance. So we're looking at a force that has miraculous power, that has ability, abundance, meaning. It means you have meaning. You're mighty. Indeed. You are a worker of miracles. Our spirits that have been endued with this power, we are the light workers. We're not swayed by politics. We're not swayed by social media. We're not swayed by religion. We're not swayed by philosophy. We're not swayed by science. Your goal is to begin to walk in the endowment that you have. Power, strength. Look at that next word, violence. You know, one of the most contradictory things that I always found about Christianity was that it was said right there. It says that violence brings the kingdom. Mighty, wonderful works. Are you any of these? Because if you are, then you're on the path. You see, once knowledge is brought to you, you're either going to receive it as a treasure or as trash. You make the determination. But if you begin to see yourself in the dunamis of your name, someone asked me, okay, I get the mirror thing. What am I supposed to be doing? You're supposed to be able to separate yourself in the fact that you can begin to be cognitive of the multiple beings that you are. You are not thought. You're not what your mind is doing. There's something else behind that. I think it was Brian, Milky Way, said he was seeing the back of his head. Yeah, You should be able to do that. And I'm staying on this because you've got to begin to change that which was in you. I was having a conversation with my attorney yesterday, and it was like I told him, I said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So when someone calls your name, do you think, they just called Dunamis, me? No, most people see themselves as that poor little thing. I'm just struggling, barely getting by. Thank you very much. No, folks, come on. There is a place where spirit are endued with supernatural power. It's a place. And it's not this private club, so to speak. In fact, to get in, it really isn't that difficult, but yet it's the most elusive that most people can never capture. And that presents a problem. I guess the question really becomes, before your departure, are you going to be able to say to what I'm about to show you that you're one of the connected ones? Think about this. Your being, your spirit, not your soul, your spirit is energy. But each spirit, ladies and gentlemen, has a finite power to it. Now, we haven't gotten the knowledge, the understanding of how to measure that. One day we might. I think when we assume our positions as a God, we'll understand this. I believe that there are those that have gotten this who are above us that have done everything in creation to keep this knowledge from us. Again, something happened that they did not expect. It's been sensed to me that there was, how should we say, an alteration in the fabric of time. Something changed. I believe personally that this was a battle. I believe we're witnessing probably the greatest armada in a realm that we have no idea about that has been assembled. And I think we have been already affected by the first salvos from both sides. And what is at stake are the spirits that have been trapped here. And there's a window that has been opened that not even the oppressors can shut. This is why we're seeing such hate in the United States. Leaders that have taken a vow of hate. They are so afraid, both sides, of what is happening, that it's already starting with persecution. If the Christians only knew that they were not prophesying their persecution, but ours. Because this is just the beginning. To proceed, your spirit must be powerful. In the movie, the original movie Tron was a great depiction of this, when Tron had the programmer, Alan, and they had been running and from the erasers, and they got into that pool, what looked like liquid. And as they both drank, even Alan, who was the human, and Tron, who was the program, they drank in that Dunamis elixir, that power. It revitalized every part of them. And in fact, it increased their power. It's very much the same of what's going on here. I mean, my channel is not about making you laugh, making you giggle, doing stupid stuff that, you know, it tells you where the mindset of man is at. That's why there's so few of us here. It's the way it's always been. We try to warn, but it's lost in the cacophony of other thoughts. And that's deliberate. There is the power source that's available here in this plane, this lifespan of yours. Requires discipline. But it doesn't mean you can't enjoy life. Awareness is not becoming sanctimonious. You know, it's not taking vows of celibacy. We don't believe in that nonsense. Each individual is responsible for themselves. There is a collective. That's how we survive. We survive because we are collectives. And the more advanced you are, the more congealed that enclave becomes. And that's the fear. That's the fear. I'm going to show you how much afraid the world is of this. You see, folks, take a good look at this. This is more real than what you realize. It appears, and I happen to agree with this. I've seen this in my spirit. I've seen images of this. That this is what our spirits are connected to. Very well could be. That's why it's so hard to get out. I have articles that we'll be getting in, not today, where they now can master thought. The implications, and this is a counterattack from the cats who are masters over this. You know, it's like the rat said, forget the cheese, just get me out of the trap. But look at this. Now, envision this to your spirit. You've got probes, electrodes, you've got... This is what I saw. I see all of us with protrusions coming out of us. Primarily, most of us within the top portions of our heads. I see sometimes it going further than that, but And they're feeding off of us, feed off of our emotions. They feed off of our hate. Apparently, unity, love, invoking witchcraft, magic of favor gives them indigestion of the mind. They're repulsed by it. Now, if I've told them I'm coming for them, I'm not coming back through. And when you get to that point where you realize that yourself, well, welcome to the club. We're growing in numbers. You see, folks, that's literally us. We're asleep right now. You don't realize it, but you are. Where do you think your spirit goes when you sleep? This is your spirit. Your soul is in there as well. We've said already, I've taught you that the body is just an avatar. It's marvelous in its engineering, but it's as much mental as it is material. Again, the phantom pain of a person that loses an appendage, a limb. And this is the general condition of virtually 99% of humanity right here. We're fed thoughts. We're programmed to react. You must gain power now, folks. You do not want to be at the precipice of that force field and not take advantage of the power here. Now, I happen to get a sense that things are drawing to a certain conclusion. And I think we're seeing it in the world today. I don't know what the next 2 years are going to be like, but my source tells me, yeah, if you don't get the power now. So my question to you is this: will you escape? Are you? Apparently, few of us do. We've got to stop that. We've got to change that. Religion is not the answer. Politics is not the answer. Social morals is not the answer. The answer lies within each of us and then sharing that. Now, I'm going to share something I wrote to Claudette. Claudette, I hope you forgive me. It wasn't personal anyway. And no one knows the context of what my response was, but I'll just be candid with you. There was something channeling through me that wrote these words. The invocation of words through nothing more than the visualization of thought, words becoming physical when either spoken or written, a layer unseen within the layers of perceived reality, There are worlds that come into existence by so many different ways. Our ability to create has been something told that we cannot do, that is something that we cannot do, that there is nothing to this nonsense of saying words are given life when spoken or written. So the masses continue to create, but are actually harvested by a collective to create a never-ending stream of new realities, new worlds that live epochs within another, reading and speaking our words we wrote or spoke. We're nothing more than being harvested. We're gods. We do something that they can't do, at least not the way that we do it. They harvest every thought. People can't imagine that because, see, we're so finite in our perception. But if there is something that has no number to it, think about what we do so well. In Brett Stewart's video, and go to his YouTube channel, it's Technical Intuition, Moksha. If you happen to pass, we all do, here is your get out of jail free card. Don't go to the light, but look for the rope. Not the light. The rope. Look for the rope. Don't be afraid of the darkness. It's not really dark. So anyway, give me 1 second, folks, as I get out of this. Thank you. Thank you very much. So there you go. Think about this. This is advanced. This is the accelerated class. Because I don't look at this with fear, but I think we're headed for a shitstorm, folks. I don't see any escape unless there is a mass awakening. But they're going to fight us. They're going to fight this message. They're going to fight this thought. They'll classify it as a radical ideology going against, hold on a second, robocalls by the hundreds. I already voted. So you got to be aware. The thing about what I found with Brett, and by the way, thank the individual who sent that to me. You know who you are. Listen to it. It's 43 minutes long. Remote viewing on reincarnation. And when I was listening to it, the vibration, the resonance within me began to, it's like synaptic pathways were firing. And I immediately knew what was going on. You see, I asked the question, can the spirit leave without the soul knowing? I don't know if I'd love to put that up. I should have put that up as a poll question. Jamma, I think when we talk Holy Spirit, I think the problem is that's been hijacked. And the problem is that when a cult or an ideology takes a word and basically inundates it with its version of a meaning. But I don't know. Neil Young, after the Gold Rush, is an album, and the song, it's maybe the ships are coming. I don't know. I believe the Armada is here. I will tell you that. I do believe the Armada is here. I think they've been assembling for some time, and I don't know. Folks, let me just show you some stuff here. Let me just put this into context for everybody. So, to show you just how this thing works, right? So, here's the hill.com. And this is about New Age, right? New Age beliefs. The popularity of New Age beliefs is taking over. And this is why I'm telling you, the persecutions are going to come. The Christian church knows that they're losing the battle. They're losing millions, tens of millions. And this is really odd when you think about this. Look at this as some of the things. They said they were discussing a recent Pew Research poll that found 62% of Americans now hold New Age beliefs, such as astrology and the presence of spiritual energy in trees or mountains. You see how foreign this is to them? I mean, this is this la la land. These cats are way out there. They don't like hearing this. 78% of those who held at least one New Age belief said they did not affiliate with any particular religion. Oh, you don't want to hear this if you're the power structure. Oh, no, 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 no. The survey also found that those who identified as Christians were more likely than atheists and agnostics to hold to at least one New Age belief. 61% of the respondents who identified as Christians said they held at least one New Age belief, compared with 22% of atheists and 56% of agnostics who said the same. 67% of mainline Protestants, 47% of evangelicals, and 70% of Catholics said they believe in a New Age belief. Oh, no, 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 no. This is not good. Wall Street Journal, China rapidly expands detention camps in Xinjiang despite criticism. It ain't going to stop there, folks. Here's something weird. This is NewJersey.com. A sickening, pulsating beat. Mystery music is floating from Delaware to New Jersey. Apparently, this is becoming so bad people can't sleep. They don't know where it's coming from. But it's becoming worse. AI lie detector is going to start questioning travelers in EU. Are you starting to feel like we're getting pushed into a box? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. So go figure that out, huh? All technology is an enslaver. Eventually, I have no doubt that this type of speech, free thinking, will become restrictive. That's why you should listen to my radio show tonight in the Artist First Network. Shameless plug, 8 o'clock Mountain, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. Going to be talking about tonight the 2018 election, the madness, how we are so self-deluded, and how we feed off of lies and deceptions. We would rather have deception than reality. And the handlers, the masters, they give it to us in bulk, and we buy it in bulk. Anyway, either we start beginning to grasp this, or it's just going to get ugly out there, folks. We don't think that this can happen. I'll share a story. I was in love with a woman. She was Jewish. I've told you in that story, but meeting her grandmother, Grandma Rose, and her sister. The thing about those two precious women was that on their right arm, right here, was a tattoo. Put it in the concentration camp, Auschwitz. I love that woman. And her sister, they would not talk a lot of the horrors that they went through. But the one thing I do remember Rose speaking very clearly about was how quickly the change came. The Dunamis change. She said within an hour, their whole world disappeared. Their whole reality vanished. And for the next 39 months, I believe, she'd entered into a different reality. We ought to stop and think about these things, folks. If you're bound by a political ideology, that's toxic. If you're bound by religious ideology, that's enslaving. They're leading us down a road that we don't want to go down, folks. And if we don't start using magic, collective magic, but a magic that this world hasn't seen before, it could get very different very quickly. Now, this is serious stuff, folks. It's time to stop playing the games, the arguments, writing crass words, always looking for a fight, always trying to find fault. If we don't start finding reasons to unify above politics, above religion, above social media norms, but as sentient spirits, folks, what makes you think it's going to be any easier on the other side? If we don't start forming alliances spiritually with one another, exchanging the information of the magic that each one of us hold, teaching others how to begin to pierce the veil, then we're doomed. You don't want to go out with a bullet in the back of your head. You don't want to go out by having to breathe toxic gas. That's what Rose witnessed. These were civilized people, by the way. It's time to stop playing the games, folks. This has been a really serious episode. I get it. But I woke up this morning telling me something's changing. Right now, something is changing. Change is hard to define on a timeline of when exactly it starts and exactly when it ends. But we're about to be in the middle of something that's been ongoing. I'm just telling you. Not blowing sunshine up your skirt. I'm trying to be talking to you seriously. All right. Let's just move right on along. No, we keep on this path. And we keep on getting stronger. We add to our numbers. And we grow. We grow out. The diversity of new channels starting up is wonderful. I look at Brian's channel. I look at Sherry's channel. There's so many others I could, look at. But yeah, growing, Raven Wolf channel. I mean, there's just so many I could list. This is what begins. Now, what we have to learn is how to interweave all of this together. Remember those old Chinese puzzles as a kid where you put your two fingers in? We just got to get that weave that no matter how hard they pull us apart, we just stick even more the stronger. So there we go. All right, folks, see you tonight on the radio show. Tomorrow night, Warrior Princess. Let's raise some money. We already got money coming in. Let's see if we can fill up that food basket there, that pantry. And let's see about, we're going to, and I'll talk to Lois about this, but, I want her to lay hands on that food, the money that's brought in. We're going to raise money. I think we're going to raise over $1,000. I think we did last time. I think we did more than that. But, we're going to put the vibration of the community on this thing. People are going to be eating that food and they're going to go, whoo, I got something going on here. All right. All right, folks, I love you. We're in this together. Let's just keep going strong. And, there's no wrong having a disagreement. Remember, it's just a matter of what the three words are in front. Dis is still an agreement. So, folks, I'll see you tonight and see you tomorrow at the same time. So appreciate you. Let me invoke a favor of blessing upon all of you. May favor be upon you. May favor be around you. May favor greet you. May there be nothing missing, nothing broken in your lives. And may your path continue to be enlightened. All right, folks, let's go for it. We'll talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye.